Hey there, hope you're having a fantastic day in your neck of the woods. This is Michael Does Life, and thank you so kindly for clicking on this video as we continue, folks, to talk about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And my oh my, some brand new developments have occurred since my last video that we're going to be covering here throughout the course of this video. So hey, if you haven't done so already, strap your seatbelts on, folks, because we're getting started right here and right now. Apparently, the Microsoft E3 2019 press conference has been leaked. And according to this leak, Capcom, well, there's a high chance of them showing off a new game. Could it very well be this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3? Well, it would make sense. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 sold like hotcakes. You know, it did very well for Capcom. So if Capcom were smart, I could only assume that they would want to capitalize on the success of this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 by saying, hey, we listened. Here you go. Stars. You know what I mean? But here's the reality of the situation. It could not be this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. In fact, it could be, instead of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, it could be a Dino Crisis remake. Capcom has said, hey, if you want to see a Dino Crisis remake, you gotta let us know. And they said that a few years ago. So maybe a lot of fans chimed in and said, hey, we want to see this. And Capcom, that's where they're headed next. You know what I mean? Could very well be a possibility. Or could it be a new Dead Rising title? We know Dead Rising 4 was kind of critically a failure, but obviously Dead Rising is still a very, very kind of high asset for Capcom. They're not just going to throw that to the trash because one game didn't do all that hot for them. You know what I mean? They're still going to look at it and say, hey, we can make big money here with Dead Rising. And it would make sense to unveil a new Dead Rising title at the Microsoft press conference E3 2019. You know what I mean? Because after all, Dead Rising is sort of like an Xbox thing. I mean, the first Dead Rising game was Xbox 360 exclusive at the time. Dead Rising 3 was only on Xbox. I mean, I guess PC as well. But you get the idea. Dead Rising 4, of course, first on Xbox. So that could very well be in the cards. But one thing is for sure, time will tell. Now, of course, this leak could just very well be all hogwash. You know, it could just very well be all hogwash, and Capcom may not announce nothing at all. But I think there is going to be a tease for a future project at E3 2019. I can feel it. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I mean, after all, we know really where Capcom is at. Yeah, sure, they're focusing on Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and that's kind of the only big release in the foreseeable future. However, with that said, we also know that Capcom has numerous titles in development right now as of this recording. Nonetheless, if you are excited about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, let's show Capcom our support by clicking on that like button to say, hey, yes, Capcom, we are still here, and this is something that we are indeed still clamoring for, an all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so kindly for watching, and I'll pop back in once we have more word on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Take care.